Of course, we love catching movies on the big screen or on our digital devices when they're made, by the pros over in Hollywood. But what about watching films that were made by the pros here in our hometown? The Rio Grande Valley is home to so many talented individuals, and we're going to go ahead and break down some of the many movies that have been filmed in the 956 throughout our history thus far. So according to IMDb.com, Viva Zapata was a film which was in production back in 1952, and the site says it is the story of Mexican revolutionary Emiliano Zapata. So if you're a history buff, especially for local stuff, then you may be interested in this one. And later in 2017, a film called As I Walk Through the Valley was filmed. It's apparently all about 40 years of underground music from our hometown. According to the site, we're talking early garage rock and Chicano funk with a Tejano, metal, and punk pop vibe from the early 2000s, which is also really cool. And you may have heard about this next one, from a couple of shows ago. It got shot in Harlingen and various parts of the Rio Grande Valley. And we actually interviewed various cast and crew members here on our show. It was a lot of fun. And if you recall, we talked about this film during the holiday season because it was about a woman who lost her mother right before the Christmas season. You Are My Home is what it's called. It's truly a heartfelt story. And of course, we hope that you were able to watch it. Now, the following year, in 2021, there was a film called On the Divide that the site says was shot in McAllen. Apparently, it regarded different beliefs among 3 Latinx people, and this one was sure to get your brain thinking for sure. And in that same year, Heartprints in the Snow. It was filmed also in the Valley, and this one was pretty cool because it was talking about something that maybe we don't talk about too much here in Texas. Dog sledding. The site says it's not just a sport, but a bond that lasts a lifetime. And if you're a dog lover, then you're sure to love this flick, witnessing the story of a sport that brings together man and a dog even more. We hope that you're able to catch some of these films sometime. And remember, of course, that they were shot here in our hometown with work from our talented community. And I love that. All right, now if you love mixing good entertainment with education, then you're gonna love our first segment for this next section. You're gonna love it a little bit more if you're a history buff too. See, our team decided to take a look at a map that shows which countries have the most museums, and it also showed the 20 most visited museums in the entire world. See, museums are a really great cultural contribution for countries, and it helps us all unite, just to witness our progress in humanity and, of course, in society. Apparently, a study was conducted recently that showed that the United States has the most museums, but not the most visited. It says that China actually is 15th in the world by number of museums, but brings in the highest number of visitors, and that London museums actually make up 1/4 of the most visited in the entire world. It's actually really interesting, so we decided to speak with an expert to learn more.
Hi, I am Mentor Hoja. I'm the data researcher on Study in Switzerland. Study in Switzerland is a comprehensive resource for studying in Switzerland, aiming to give perspective on current international students a full insight into studying. Since studying in Switzerland main goal is educational, we wanted to inform people about some of the most famous museums around the world. And museums have an important place in every country. So they collect and preserve our objects and materials of religious, cultural, and historical value, and they are also a good source of entertainment. So some key findings in our study are top 20 countries with the most museums and most visited museums. In the very first place, we have the United States of America with the most museums, around 33,000. But when it comes to visitors, the Louvre Museum in Paris has the first place. It tops that list. Then we have Japan in the 3rd place, Italy in the 7th place with the most museums. But by the number of visitors, we have the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York is in 4th place. And let's say in the 8th place, we have the National History Museum in London. As we know, COVID-19 had a huge impact in all of our lives. So it did affect drastically the number of visitors in major museums worldwide. For example, let's take the Louvre Museum, which in 2019, it had around 9.6 million visitors. But following the restrictions of the virus in 2020, that number decreased to 2.7 million visitors. Another example we have, let's say the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, which in 2019 it had around 6.7 million visitors, but in 2020 it only had 1.1 million visitors. Nowadays, these numbers are a little bit higher, but they are still not matched to what they used to be pre-pandemic. Although museums are open now, for some reason people can't attend them in person. There is still a way for art lovers to view thousands of paintings, sculptures, and other installations in another way, which is online through the screen, and it's free. So I encourage everyone to visit museums. They are educational. You learn your stuff. You learn about the history of your country or other countries, and it's fun to go and see interesting stuff.
You can learn a lot about museums and about history in general through a well-rounded education, and you may just find hobbies that you love that turn into a career. For example, did you know that April is National Welding Month? See, welding is actually really helping to improve various industries, including manufacturing, fabrication, and aerospace and aviation. And TSCC's welding program is helping to prepare students for an amazing career path, and we decided to drop by their campus to learn more.
Our program offers 3 different degree plans. Both the Cert 1, which is a structural, Cert 2, we get our students involved in pipe welding, and then our associates, which really focuses on automation. Our Cert 1 is typically 1 year long. Our Cert 2 adds 1 more semester, which is another 4 months, and then our associates is another 4 months, which is 1 more semester. So within 5 semesters, under 2 years, our graduates will graduate with all the different certificates that we have, as well as the associate's degree. The knowledge and skill that we give our students are a direct parallel of what they're going to see out in the field. So in other words, the students are going to be retaining and gathering information and knowledge throughout the time that they're here with our welding department, and put that towards the industry that where they're going to be going into. Now obviously there's going to be a lot of different outlooks in industry, whether it be structural welding, pipe welding, again our automation area, but all that will be covered within the students throughout the time that they're here. And that benefits them greatly, just so that way they have a hands-on training while they're here out to what the industry has. You know, I think the National Welding Month, I think that's great to showcase welders, their skill, their level. There's many companies out there that require welders, and they're kind of put in the back burner. So it's one of those things that really showcases them. You know, welding is actually, it's pretty unique. It's definitely a difficult skill to do, to complete, depending on the processes. So kind of showcasing that, bringing that out to light, I think it's really important, and just kind of gives you the welders that get a pat on the back, a heads up on how well they do their trade. Again, there's so many companies out there that require welders. Right now, we have a lot of industry partners that are getting contracts with bigger jobs. So the job security is always going to be there. There's always going to be the need for welders. It's just one of those traits that it's never going to go away. It's just evolving, you know. So these students, they learn from hands-on all the way to using actual machines, and which could be the future, you know. But we focus on that here at TSCC, so that way the students have that extra knowledge. So it definitely helps. So a great future is definitely possible for any student. Again, it focuses on the student himself or herself. It's the effort that they put in and the knowledge that they gain as they're here. But the future for them is out there for them to take. You know, it could be a very, very bright future. biggest one, or one of the bigger ones, hand-eye coordination. It's always obviously a skill between your hands and your eyes. Knowledge, obviously understanding what the weld is doing, but a lot of other traits are like attitude, persistence, those kind of pertain to the weld itself. So it's got a lot of skills that you're going to be needing to be a good welder.
All right, that's all we've got for now. Thanks again so much for joining us today, and be sure to tune in again next time because we'll have a lot more in store for you. But for now, don't forget to follow our team on social media for exclusive behind-the-scenes sneak peeks at what we're filming for the show, and of course for your chance at your comment or even your question to be featured on air. And you can always visit valleycentral.com to rewatch some of today's favorite segments. We've got all that and so much more next time on Valley Vida. We'll see you then.